Bigbossjock radio show. Analyst assessment. Clip being assessed. Iran's foreign minister says it was minutes away from war with U.S. last month. Posted by CBS this morning. Date, July 19, 2019. Before beginning the clip, take a look at the title. Iran's foreign minister says it was minutes away from war with U.S. last month. It is the country of Iran. Was minutes away from war with U.S. last month. That gives the impression that Iran was about to attack the United States of America last month. Things used to not be stated in such a way. No, the U.S. used to have a placement in the world as being the most powerful, having the most powerful military in the world. So why would it matter if Iran was planning to attack the U.S.? They would face annihilation. By placing the title that way, places Iran at the same level or maybe a bit above the United States of America, because Iran was about to take action and attack the United States last month. Interesting way to phrase the title. And that's why I chose this clip to assess. Right there in the title, there's trouble. It's misworded. Shouldn't be stated in such a way. Why is CBS this morning choosing to report the news in such a way? The listener should give some thought to what is the intent of the company CBS. And CBS isn't exclusive. CBS, NBC, ABC, and all the rest do about the same. Clip's 3 minutes, 37 seconds.
Foreign Affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan is moderator of Face the Nation. She spoke yesterday for over an hour with Iran's foreign minister at the UN. She joins us from Washington. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How does the downing...
Okay, first of all, it should be Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. Broadcasting live. The reporter's name. Something to tie the United States of America. More than Washington, which is a state and a city, and less added on is D.C. Described clearly. Should have been a better description. Especially when two nations are being discussed. The United States of America and the foe, one of the many various foes of the United States of America, the country of Iran.
Or it's not clear whether there actually was a downed drone, but I mean, if there was one down, how's that?
It's not clear if there was a downed drone. If there was a downed drone, and he's going to ask a question, whose downed drone? That there was an Iran... U.S. flies drones every day. Whose drone was that was shot down? Needs to have a description. Makes for confusion. Remember, listener, this is computer-generated dialogue that's being assessed. So keep that in mind.
That's going to affect the tensions that are already high here.
That are already high here? Well, if it's here, and he's in Los Angeles or New York, and she's in a place called Washington, though I don't believe it's Washington State, because I'm looking behind her, the reporter, who I would call a reportress. Behind her is a structure that is white, and I'm going to assume that's the White House.
Well, Iran's trying to dismiss it, saying it didn't happen in the first place.
Who cares about what Iran says? Since when does Iran take precedence over what the U.S. president has to say, or the U.S. Armed Forces, a general, or the chief of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? Why does it matter what the government of Iran thinks about the issue? Why is CBS this morning choosing to report about a downed drone, which the listener at this moment isn't sure who the drone belongs to? One thing that probably won't be noted, and I haven't watched the clip yet, that the drone will not be termed a U.S. Air Force drone. The drone, does it belong to Iran? Well, I don't know. And what there will be is confusion during the clip about who that drone belongs to and where is here. Where's home? What's our country? Us? We? Is it going to be our drone or is it a drone? Because the last video assessed with the foreign minister of Iran, the impression given, what the viewer perceived was that they were in Iran America due to the use of we and our country, we and the problem when speaking with a government official, a nation foe of the United States of America, an official from the government of Iran. Well, we'll roll on, see what's going to be versed in the clip. Here we go, 27 seconds.
But it is indisputable that the military actions, even though they're limited.
Whose military actions? The U.S. military actions? Who shot down what drone? I'm not sure. Where should I call home? Our country? Well, let's find out some more about us and the military and a drone. Here? Oh, and she's broadcasting from Washington. Is it Seattle? Or maybe Vashon? A little closer to the border? I don't know. Though I don't believe it's Canada. It does show Washington, though no longer. Now it's just a white structure behind her. Her, the reportress, 31 seconds. Here we go. We, the analysts, assessing the clip. You, the listeners, who are learning the skills, in turn will become analysts as well.
They antagonize and they make.
Who antagonizes? Who's they? And then here,
to find a diplomat.
Did the listener take note when the reporter stated antagonizes? Remember, ding ding of the bell.
Way out. We know France's president is talking to both sides right now. He is.
Who cares about what France's president is doing? And his name's Macron. You people, Yankee, you are being treated as the chump fool that you've been behaving as. France's president does not need to intervene. Yeah, because the United States of America is not operating at a standard acceptable to negotiate. Well, why would that be? How did they all of a sudden rank 30 place in the world, or are they down? Well, they're past third. They need France to negotiate for them. This is an embarrassment, a disgrace to the nation of the United States of America. They're accepting, the listener is, as a U.S. citizen. Well, they've been stripped of their identity and they're being conditioned to accept their country is no longer number one. Not even close to number one.
Personally trying to cool things off. Yesterday when I spoke with Iran's foreign minister, who you mentioned is in New York.
See, normally the United States of America would play that role. And when they saw that there was going to be a conflict between two countries, they might step in as a mediator, especially if they had interest in one of the countries or both. They would try to behave as the diplomatic channel between two countries. Now they need France. Who's they? The United States of America needs another country to negotiate
right now,
on its behalf.
Now, he said
well, on behalf of both nations, be a mediator. So if the United States of America is going to accept having a mediator, well, they'll also accept regulations being set by other countries as well. Understand that, listener? That's the conditioning.
Two countries were minutes away from war last month.
Who cares? Yeah. Well, during the Cold War, that was every day. Every day for decades. And?
When President Trump called off that military...
Not just with Iran. Various arenas around the world. Moments away from war. High tension. One misfire. Boom. The whole area would have went up. And oftentimes did. One after another. All around the world.
Strike due to the downing of it.
You people don't remember the Cold War. Otherwise, the listener would realize what a farce. And many of you weren't around during the Cold War. They would realize what a farce the reporting is of today. Why such the change? How did the United States of America go from a standing of being the world's power to now, well, are they the world's coward? I don't know, but they're the nation that can't, described by their leader. They're just not able. Wouldn't want to call them cowards, such as the attire that has on the woman, yellow. Though this journalism sure is. Here we go. 58 seconds and rolling.
Different drone, an American one.
Oh, a different drone, an American one. How about a U.S. Air Force drone? Or was it a U.S. Navy drone? An American one. So let me see, a drone was shot down and it was an American one? I'm not sure. Well, let's continue on. Assessing the clip. They will find out.
But Zarif is making a distinction here.
So, the foreign minister, and not introduced as the foreign minister, his name receives name association. The first name placed in 1 minute and 3 seconds of either side. Iran takes precedence. Their foreign minister receives name association. Well, let's find out about Foreign Minister Zarif of Iran. And it would be Iranian Foreign Minister Zarif. Let's find out about his statements. He's very important. He receives name association.
He says Iran doesn't want to cause any American casualties.
Oh, he's warning he doesn't want to have to beat up the United States of America. He's making that warning on behalf of Iran, that they don't want to have to kick the butt of the United States of America if they happen to misstep. They're being warned, and that's the United States of America, by the foreign minister named Zarif of Iran. Wow, and that's what CBS chooses to put on. What a farce. You people should be infuriated. About to lose your nation, Yankee. Time to rise up, Confederates. Get out there, kick off the revolution. Do not cede 1 inch of territory. Do not allow the breakup of the United States of American territory. Liberate the Confederate States of America. The Alamo, placed as the capital. Yes, the United States of America will go away. And will go away in shame. Though they can pick up their pride doing things right, being a Confederate. Get out there!
That's an important distinction because it stops just short of violating President Trump's red line.
That stops just short of violating President Trump's line. I'm going to put this on pause and play that back again. Okay, we're going to let this roll. There's quite a high level of trickery in the wording. Played it back time and time again. So go, if they're watching the clip, to 42 seconds. And let's pay attention to what is stated.
Things off. Yesterday, when I spoke with Iran's foreign minister, who you mentioned is in New York right now.
Okay, excitement. He is in New York. That's as if very important. Listen to the intonation. He is in New York right now.
He said the two countries were minutes away from war last month when...
He says that the two countries were minutes away from war. No, we're not just another country if you're from the United States of America. She needs to specify who are the two countries. Again, reiterate that Iran, because she's speaking on behalf of the foreign minister of Iran, Zarif. So go ahead. Some reason CBS this morning chooses to report the news as if they're press TV from Iran. That is put out by the Iranian government. They're taking that position. Okay, so she's going to lead out and mention the importance of the statement of Zarif and that there were tensions between the United States of America and Iran. And I would mention the United States of America first because I'm a U.S. citizen. And that the tensions were high and it almost led to war.
President Trump called off that military strike due to the downing of a different drone.
No, it cannot be stated that way. President Trump called off another strike due to the downing of a different drone, and that's not word for word. I don't have the time today to put down the words to the paper and turn this into a 2-hour assessment of the 3-minute and 37-second clip. I encourage the listener to do so, and they'll understand the trickery even further. The other drone needs to be termed a U.S. Navy drone, people. Well, if they put in U.S. Navy drone, it makes it much more clear the message. There's a whole lot of confusion. It's being said backwards. The details are being presented, but in a backwards way, which leaves the viewer conditioned, programmed, and furthermore, due to the state of confusion, susceptible to the programming. It's what is called a backwards riddle. And then they pick up the fiddle. The tune, they play at a later date. I've been in a USDIA stimuloceiver program my entire life. They trolled the bait by calling attention through the subconscious. You people are being programmed through the use of similar techniques. I'm quite familiar with the tactics of Yankee Sam. I'd appreciate some assistance out there. I'm being bullied by a Redding, California Police Department, along with a Shasta County Superior Court, Shasta County Sheriff's Department, the FBI. They're quite aware as well. Protested out in front of their place for 10 months. 2.5 years of a protest and not one offer of assistance. It's getting a bit difficult, listeners. Appreciate if someone would step up. If they care about having a nation, they've already been stripped of their citizenship. They no longer identify as a U.S. citizen. Next, they're going to be stripped of their country. It's about to be broken up, the territory. Get out there, Confederates. Do not allow the breakup of the U.S. territory. Do not cede 1 inch. The border remains the border. That's the U.S. territorial borders.
American one. But Zarif is making a distinction here.
But Foreign Minister of Iran, Zarif, is making a different distinction here.
He says Iran doesn't want to cause any American casualties.
They shouldn't be stated that way. So Press TV this morning, the media source from the Iranian government made a cautionary statement advising the United States to behave or it'll be necessary for Iran to kick the butt of the United States of America. That's the fiddle. That's what the people picked up, is that the United States of America isn't much. Isn't much. Is being warned by Iran.
It's an important distinction because it stops just short of...
And then after the fact mention of the red line set by Donald. But the thing is, the red line set by Donald was over an unmanned U.S. Navy drone that was shot down by the Iranian army. Well, that's just the opposite of what happened supposedly today. Or was it yesterday? Recently, more recently. Iran? No, now it's the United States of America. Yes, shot down an Iranian drone. So she's going to mention the cautionary statement made by Dawn over the shooting down of a U.S. Navy drone after the fact. Well, because what was important, the fiddle that was picked up, was that the foreign minister of Iran, Zarif, made a warning on behalf of Iran to the United States of America to behave, or it would be necessary for Iran to take action and kick butt. Letting the United States of America know they're not much. Thing is, people, this is computer generated, so they need to look at CBS This Morning as a company, corporation, and ask themselves, listeners, who's setting the agenda? Who's choosing to put the computer generated dialogue? The listeners are being brainwashed to accept, if they're a U.S. citizen, that they're not much. They're definitely not number one. And they're being warned by the nation of Iran. And that warning is being broadcasted, aired, as if it holds weight, being done so by CBS This Morning, undermining the very nation of the United States of America. Why are the authorities doing such? Well, not that CBS is such an authority. Someone of authority is right there setting the dialogue. Realize there's a 5-minute lapse placed on every broadcast. The USDIA places the dialogue with a computer. They place a form of English rubbish, which uses inappropriately the words you, we, us, ours, they, them. They, them, it, she, he, without specifying, without giving a title. We, us, you, ours, yours, inappropriately, not needed, restructured the English language in order to place those words. By doing so, reduce the intellect level of the listener. Quit allowing themselves to be programmed. Pick up the skills to assess and no longer tune in once they realize what's going on. Go ahead, watch the brainwashing, and then understand they need to reprogram the way they think. They've been programmed to think backwards. They're about to give up their nation. They've been programmed to act immoral. And the more immoral they act, they perceive that they'll be seen as even that more favorable, to be admired. Because that's how the pyramid works in the Yankee Empire. Who's at the top? The idols, what are known as idols, that the others aspire to follow, be such as they emulate the way of the idol. It's a pyramid. Those idols are a select group placed by the USDIA. They're operators, mask wearers. The authorities know right now that there's a multitude of personalities, that one set of eyes matches 8 personalities. And the public, they just can't get enough of being the chump, clapping their hands, emulating the way of their, what they term their favorite celebrity, or their favorite personality that they term an idol. They're the chump. Wake up. Do not allow a loss of their nation.
Violating President Trump's red line, which is that the loss of a single U.S. life would trigger a military response.
As for cooling tensions,
a U.S. military response.
Iran's foreign minister told you that if the U.S. lifts sanctions...
Iran's foreign minister told you. She needs a name. Sally, we'll call her. Iran's foreign minister Zarif informed Sally, from what I understand. So it would be, Sally, from what I understand, the foreign minister of Iran, Zarif, made a statement to you regarding
Iran would agree to restrictions on its nuclear program, but that sounds a lot like
that Iran would agree to restrictions being placed on the Iranian nuclear development program,
like what was in place prior to all this. So how exactly is that going to diffuse the situation?
Well, what the foreign minister who negotiated that 2015...
What the Iranian foreign minister Zarif negotiated on behalf of Iran was that
nuclear deal said is that Iran would speed things up and put even more restrictions on its existing...
That Iran would even speed things up and put restrictions on the Iranian nuclear development program.
Nuclear program. They would allow for more intrusive...
Iran would allow for more intrusive UN inspections, or who's the Nuclear Council? Them.
Inspections, but really the White House is treating this as a non-starter.
But really the White House, no, not the White House, the U.S. government.
Without the U.S. lifting sanctions, Zarif said he sees very little...
Without the U.S. lifting sanctions, the foreign minister of Iran, Zarif, noted that Iran...
chance of the U.S. countries, of the two countries beginning talks, or of President Trump and...
Confusion. Nonsense. Of the two countries, let's see what she says. I'd have to play it back. Trickery at a high level again.
Iran's leader meeting, say, in September, when the two are at the UN for the...
Analytical thinking takes a person September. They're not in the abstract. They can calculate how many months it is to September. July, August, they do that in their mind, 2 months away, some math, back in the analytical part of their mind, conscious state, being programmed. Whenever they go to you or to the confusion, they go into the abstract, trying to make sense, perceiving. So I'm going to play that back and see if I can understand. For the moment, this will be all for this segment of the assessment. Our one only God, He helps me do this rhyme, line by line. I do give my thanks, along with gratitude for our Father in heaven, Allah, our one only God. It's the Big Boss Jock, signing off.